New York City police officer Daniel Rodriguez.
Please welcome Daniel Rodriguez.
I want to thank Daniel Rodriguez for lending his fabulous voice in tribute after tribute to the greatness of America.
International recording artist and former New York City police officer Daniel Rodriguez.
But before all of this, there was just a boy with a dream. A young boy who several times in his life would face death and would have to survive many, many things, the first of which was addiction. Music was the passion that I was blessed with. I was given that blessing. I made my Carnegie Hall debut. And this was the trajectory of my life. This was where I thought my life was going to take me. I had it all worked out. And then at 19 years old, I accidentally started a family. And everything changed. I had already had the predisposition. My father and my mother were both alcoholics. I have 25 years. My mother and my father have 26 years. Yeah. And I spent the next 8 years of my life battling with this addiction, full-blown alcoholic. I lost my job, lost my family, I was actually living on the streets for some time. What I remember most was that there was a baby in that crack den. And I actually, made a bottle. And in that moment, I realized that there was still a sense of humanity left in me. There was still there's still some sanity left in this head, in this body. And I left. And I walked into the bathroom. And I looked in the mirror. And I didn't recognize my own reflection. And I got up from the floor and I called my father. And I said, Dad, I'm ready. He said, well, what do you plan to do? And I said, whatever it takes. He goes, yeah, you're ready. There was always faith in my life. The second time I had heard that something special for you was my aunt when she was dragging me to church. And she said, I don't know what it is, but God has something special in store for you. So I became a New York City police officer. That's the trajectory that I took. I was a really, really good cop. I'm in the police academy. On the 7th floor of the police academy is restricted to cadets. And they know you're a cadet because you've got a gray shirt instead of the blue shirt. But that's where the ceremonial unit was located. PPO Rodriguez requests permission to sing the national anthem at Madison Square Garden for graduation. And the sergeant that was there, who we became very, very dear friends, walks up and he says, well, let's hear what you got. I finished, I stand there, and the lieutenant looks at the sergeant and says, is this the kid that's going to sing at Madison Square Garden? And the sergeant looks at me and says, yep. When the towers came down, I was this close as that building across the street. It was in those what I thought were the last moments, I was so grateful for the life that I led, for the moment in the bathroom. It's almost like it all just for the moment when I rose up and I started to try and be a better person because I felt that faith fill me from all of the things that happened up until this moment. And I said to myself, I want my children to be proud that when the last hour came, I was where I was supposed to be. I was serving as a New York City police officer right next to my boss, and that's where they'll find me. Now I'm freer and enjoying the life that God gave me so long ago as a young man, and celebrating 40 years in the music business, 25 years of sobriety.